It's a new year and we are excited to get off on some new adventures, and they start tomorrow. But today it's all that last minute stuff, the stuff that you hate to do every time you leave town, and get all that done and then pack the van. Not a favorite job of mine. But I have a few tips I thought I'd share on the stuff that we hate to do. And then I'm going to share some things that we're taking out on this trip to try out, and we'll see how they work out. One of the jobs I hate to do is making sure all my irrigation is okay, that there aren't any leaks, because I always have leaks, largely because of rodents that like to gnaw through my 1/4-inch drip lines. I have mostly succulents in the yard, and so I have to cycle through everything and check every line. And then also, I don't know if you can see behind me, I've got an orange tree that's full of oranges, so I'm going to pick some oranges and juice them. And I've also got a few avocados that I can pick, and I think they'll ripen in the next couple of weeks. This is just a baby. He's not ready to be picked. Here's a big fat one though. Here's another one. I know they're ready when they start to get this kind of a milky, kind of a cloudy, milky sheen to them. And then, of course, you have to hold the mail, which is not a huge chore. I keep a stack of these hold cards on hand. Now, these cards, they say that they'll hold mail for 30 days, but it's actually up to your mail carrier. So if you have a friendly mail carrier, you can speak to them and see if they will hold your mail longer than that. Ours will, and held our mail the entire time we were in Alaska last summer. Here's a tip for you if you take either medicines or supplements. I find that a muffin tin is a great way to do this really quickly, and just add your items and then bag them up. And then I use these little pill bags. You can get these at any pharmacy, and make sure you get the ones that have the wider edge here. And I reuse these. One of the other chores that I've been putting off forever of doing is we use this child's hammock in the back where we put things like jackets or pillows, stuff like that. That was recommended by a viewer. Gosh, it was before we went up to Alaska. And I had been meaning to sew little Velcro tabs here to keep it closed when it's full. So I did that as well. Okay, now I'm going to share with you 6 items that we're taking on this trip to try out and see how we like them. The first one is in the refrigerator. I'm going to pull it out. And it's a little basket that expands and contracts, and I thought I'd put things like eggs in here, maybe cheese, stuff like that, but it just hangs on the wire rack in the fridge. The second item is this little heater, and we had a heater before, but it had a cord and it plugged in, and I thought, when I saw this, I thought it might be a little bit more convenient. And it has a little button back here, so you can turn this around depending on how your outlet is. So we have an outlet right here underneath the counter, and it also has it has an on-off switch, it has a timer, and it has a temperature, so you can set the temperature range, and it should go on and off automatically. It's 350 watts. The other one I think we had was a 250 watts, so it's puts out a little bit more heat. So we'll see how we like this. For Christmas, John got me some walkie-talkies. Sometimes when we're cycling or hiking, we're not together. Maybe I've gone ahead, or I've delayed in taking pictures or something. And so he did a lot of research and chose this Midland walkie-talkie set. It has to be registered with the FCC. It's a $70 fee for a 10-year period. So he's taking care of that. So we'll let you know how those work. The next item is this trasheroo that we saw on Chris Shantz's, actually he doesn't use the trasheroo brand, he has a more expensive one, but Chris Shantz on his Venture Forward uses one of these on his spare tire, and of course now we have a spare tire, which is nice, that's mounted to the outside, and so we can hang a trasheroo, and we're not going to actually put trash in it. We're going to put things like bicycle helmets and that piece that fits around your, John calls it the stinky slinky. So that stuff will go in there in a bag, and any lightweight thing like maybe our water hose, stuff that's really lightweight but it's also kind of bulky. Helmets take up a lot of storage space, so it'll be nice to have that. There is, we're also going to store the pieces for the outside shower. I've reworked the outdoor shower, and when we get to Joshua Tree, which will be, we're actually going to boondock outside of Joshua Tree. We're not going in the park except for maybe a short hike. When we get there, I'll set the shower up and show you that. But we're going to store the short pieces inside of the trasheroo. So there's nothing in here that's of value. If somebody wants to steal it, if they want my stinky, sweaty helmet, then they're welcome to it. Okay, oh, well, that can go in there too. This is our bicycle cover, so that can go in the trasheroo too. And we have a couple more additions to the back. The yellow Camco stacks that we use to level the vehicle were starting to crack a little bit. So I saw these online. They looked like they were a higher quality, made by Valterra. And so it comes the same stack of 10. But there's also this bumper available so you don't go too far over the blocks when you're leveling. So that's new. Let you put that back, John. And then the last thing is a griddle. I've been wanting to have maybe a larger cooking surface on the stove, and so this will go over the 2 burners in the back, and it has the the side with the whatever those grooves are, and then a flat surface. But let me show you. Let me show you the cover that I made. This is just a reusable grocery bag, and all I did was basically re-sew the bottom and to take out those little box pleats areas. Took that out and just made it flat, and it was a perfect fit for the griddle. This one is a Lodge, I think. Really heavy. I'll show you how it fits on the burner. Fits really well. It kind of locks in there. So I could maybe grill vegetables or
hamburgers.
Hamburgers for the carnivore.
Pancakes. Ooh.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll see how that works. We did not have a very elegant departure from Huntington Beach today. At the last minute, we just started throwing things in. But we're here now, just outside of Joshua Tree National Park and a boondocking area. It's on BLM land. We just met some Canadians who would like to take our bikes for a ride, so we're going to get those off. And I'm going to get my drone out and do some flying because I never get enough time to fly the drone to actually feel confident about using it. What do you want for dinner, John?
Chili beans and quesadillas.
I'm going to try out the griddle tonight because John wanted quesadillas. So we'll give this a first try. And on this trip, I'm going to try to include more cooking because some of you like to see that. We don't eat anything fancy, especially in this little kitchen. But first I'm going to cook it. I have to cook the beans that John wants because there's only two burners. And the reason I love these pans that I've linked below, they're from, I think they're from Switzerland. They're expensive, but they have a really thick base and they hold the heat really well. So I can go ahead and heat the beans and then I can leave them aside and they'll stay hot and I'll still be able to do the quesadillas. So this is nice. I can get 2 quesadillas on the pan so I don't have to do it in shifts. And the way I do it is I heat, so I'll get one side as hot as I can, and I always use grated cheese, which I grate before we leave, and I'll get the quesadilla pretty hot, and
or do I grate it before you?
Yeah, John grates it, and then I flip it over so that you got the hot side up to help melt the cheese faster. So I'll kind of flip these around until they're all at least warm because they've come out of the refrigerator. I also want to say that I think I mentioned earlier that I was going to show you the shower that I made some alterations to, the outdoor shower, and I forgot to do it, and now it's getting dark and cold, so I'm not going to do it on this week's video. I'll do it in the next one, which actually is going to start tomorrow, because this is going to be kind of my first video of getting going, because we had a really hectic time getting out of here because we were having the house painted and we had house guests for pretty much 2 solid weeks, so it was really weird getting out of there, but we're really glad to be out here outside of Joshua Tree. It's gorgeous, it's not windy, the sun is going down. Got my camera out there doing a time lapse, and we'll have a quick dinner and then watch some movies or something and go to bed. So we enjoyed chatting with the Canadians across the way. They are from British Columbia, and they recommended another TV show called Trailer Park. Is that what it's called, John? Trailer Park? Something like that. So we're going to see if we can find that on Amazon Prime. It's probably on Netflix though.
But they're from Terrace.
No, one of them had lived in Terrace, which is where Anna and Dave lived, where we met in our Alaska series, and it would have been funny if they actually knew them. One of our subscribers, I forgot. I'll put the link below. TD Adventures, I think. They're in searching for the right rig for them, and they've been doing a lot of interviews with Pleasureway. And in the last recent one, they were talking about the fact that there's no longer a sink in the bathroom in the Ford. What do they call that one, John? The Ford one. It's the short, the On-Tour, and it's the short one. I think it's 2.0 or something. So they're not putting a sink in there. And when we got this rig, I thought that it was kind of silly to have a sink when you got a sink right here. But now I realize that I appreciate the sink in there because I'm getting my hands dirty here. I've got the sink area all covered with stuff. I can just turn around and go in there and wipe my hands off or wash my hands. So I've come to like that sink in there, even though it's tiny and all of that. But hot. Ouch. I also want to mention that I got an email yesterday from Corrine and Sean, and they had stopped by our house several weeks ago. They were in a video and they were on their way to Agile Off-Road. But Sean tells me he's got his first video up, and I had mentioned that I would update you guys. His first video is up, and I'll put a link below to his channel and his first video if you want to watch that. I also want to say that we have 2 grandsons. We adore both of them. The older one is almost 13. He's days away from being 13, so he's that, getting to that aloof stage, but he's still a great kid. The younger one is 7, and for Christmas this year, he loves to draw, he loves to do crafts and things like that, and he loves to draw robots. He drew a robot, and his mother had the robot put on hats, and he gave them to us for Christmas. And so in every video, I want to show, because he doesn't think we wear his hats. So in every video, I'm going to wear Finn's. It says Finn Designs, and I'll have his hat on. So Finn, we are wearing your hats. So we're going to call it quits for this week, and tomorrow we're off to Quartzsite for the Rock and Gem show, and then we're off to Phoenix, where we're going to hook up with my oldest brother, who has purchased a lot at an RV park where he spends the winter with his wife. They live in Colorado, and they get away from the cold weather, and so we're going to see what that's all about. So thanks for watching. I'll see you next week.